With the adoption of the agenda, we have one addition, and that was addendum 8.8, the letter to our MLA and incoming MLA and Premier. Is there anything else we need to add?
While we're on that topic, have we written a letter to Daniel Early thanking her? Maybe we should do that as well.
Okay. We'll bring that up on that one. Anything else? Good catch. All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Carried. And our scheduled delegations. Come on up. Just for the records and the people in TV land that are out there anxiously awaiting, could you give there's the little mic there that you can turn on so they'll be able to hear you better. And give just give your names.
So I'm Jennifer Zapka with the Rebranding Committee.
Tina Ostmeyer with the Rebranding Committee.
All right. Thank you very much for coming in. And I know we're going to be talking rebranding in a little while, but perhaps you can fill us in.
So we just wanted to come as a delegation for the Rebranding Committee.
Your mic is off.
So you can't hear me?
Push the button again.
No, you have to hold
Yeah,
it.
we have speakers here.
There you go.
We'll start over. So we wanted to come as part of a delegation for the Rebranding Committee. We've made our recommendation. We've sent it to council. It's in your agendas. And we just wanted to be here in case anybody had any questions, comments, or concerns.
Any questions for them at this point?
Can you bring ice cream?
No.
Sorry.
That's the ice cream question.
You know where the ice cream is.
Councillor Gilroy.
Depending on which logo ends up being the one chosen by the town, or by the town councillors, what safeguards do we have in place, or is it the administration and or committee will put in place for usage of and protection? So that, does that mean that, for example, the one that's chosen, will that become the property and sole property of the town, and that people need to ask permission from it, or will the designer be able to then say it's still my design, and anyone who wants to reproduce it for any other material privately or by anybody else be able to do it? So I just wanted to make sure we have safeguards in place to protect any logo.
We will have secure rights over the logo once when it's.
So they will relinquish all rights to
Yes.
their. Okay.
When they're paid for it, then it is ours.
I believe it states in the package as you're going through it, it states that it will be our property.
Well, I just want to have it right on record then.
It's in writing.
Perhaps I can ask you a question. Why did you select that the logo that you did?
So the biggest reason was we wanted something that was going to be simple, powerful, and timeless. Something that would reflect our feelings about High Prairie. It is, it's very simple to put on a business card and on a sign. It's eye-catching, and we felt that the little canola on top of it was just kind of like the cherry on top. It was, in our opinion, the best one that we had seen, and we saw a lot.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Long?
Just a comment, I know that your committee was really full of people who were type A personalities and wanted to create something great for the community. And I know the work that you've done is exceptional. So thank you very much for that. And I'm sure that once we go through, it'll all go in the wash just nicely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun being on this committee and seeing people, like you said, we had a lot of type A women. on the committee. It made for some great conversations. And at the end of the day, we chose a logo that truly represents High Prairie to us.
Well, and it's not something that you're gonna need to change 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing, because I know financially, that's a big concern for most of the community members.
And what was also quite satisfying was, I know it got leaked a little bit on Facebook, and the majority of the community members appreciated the one that we had chosen to begin with. So that just made us feel like
You did a job.
we did what you all wanted us to do.
No other, Councilor Rose?
Just again, a comment. I was part of the process alongside of you guys, as well as Councillor Danaka. And I just want to thank you guys for being part of, being willing to put your name forward and to be willing to be part of the committee in the first place. And I know it took longer than we had hoped. We had a few ups and downs, and we had to sort of reinvent the wheel when we first started taking a look at logos. That we've gone from pictures right to script, and I want to thank you guys for being patient with that, because I think you guys were part of people that said, let's just take a step back and stop looking at these ones that we didn't like, and we were able to then go forward with examples from other communities. We started taking a look at scripts, and we were able to fine-tune that path till we get to this point. So thanks for your patience and for your contributions to this.
Thank you.
Councillor Danaka?
When the committee started, we weren't even really sure where we were going, what we were looking for, and just through the different conversations from the different personalities that we had, we kind of decided where we wanted to go, why we went with the script logo as opposed to an actual logo. And in the discussions that we had amongst the members, the one that we chose as a group, and Jennifer summed it up, that was the one that popped for us. It sort of exemplified and encapsulated what we were striving to achieve with with just the simplicity of it, but yet it's a statement. And I mean, we had many different discussions, from naked cowboys to all kinds of different things. And I mean, it was passionate discussions about where we wanted to go. The people that were on the committee were wonderful to work for and work with to come to this final decision. And hopefully, if there's ever a need for committee members, you guys will step up and have great discussions on other issues or other committees that we need decisions, because it was just a pleasure and a joy.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun, and it really solidified, I think, for us how much we love and respect High Prairie as a community and as a people, right? And that's what we wanted to showcase, is our respect and adoration for our town.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'd like to echo what the other councillors have mentioned, and thank you very much for your time and commitment to this project. I know it's been a long process, so we appreciate you sticking through and your recommendation, and we're going to be looking at that a little bit later on tonight.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Is there any public delegations? Nobody wants to come up for a public? Okay, then we'll move on to our peace officers report. Can I get a motion? Councillor Gilroy?
Well, the council received the Senior Peace Officers March 2019 report for information.
All right. Is there anything you want to draw our attention to
Just the dog licensing. We started the process obviously at the end of December, giving the residents a month to obviously renew their license. Come February, the ones that neglected or forgot were issued municipal tickets, which I think there was around 39. They were given until February 28th to comply, and as a result, there was 10 in March that we had to send out a second, and three of those were residents that forgot to indicate or tell the town that their animals had passed or they had given them away, so those tickets were null and void. Other than that, same thing with the business licenses. Officer Thiessen sent out notices to the businesses that forgot or to renew their business licenses. Out of that, 3 tickets were issued. Yeah, other than that, it was pretty much business as usual.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Danaka.
Not necessarily anything from your report, but have yourself and Erica and the CAO sat down to discuss changes to your patrol with the rash of vandalism that we're seeing?
Yeah, Eric and I have talked about that as a result of the last couple weeks there. We are going to do a couple, I'd rather not say it over the, but yeah, we are looking at different plans. So.
Okay, Councillor Gilroy.
Is there a way, since our police staff, not just our peace officers, but the RCMP that we're paying all that money for to look after habitual criminals, and that is there a way that they can work together? Like, actually, instead of just having Erica and Mr. Bloom here and our CAO meet, that we could get the RCMP as well, and they can work on some way. Because if the situation is that the RCMP is being called away on fake calls, then we need to figure out a secondary plan of attack. And I think if we're paying extra money to the RCMP, I think we should be able to coordinate the overall efforts in a better way. And I have had some positive response from the RCMP that they would be interested in something like this. So is it a possibility we can do that to protect our citizens? Because I got an earful at the chamber from a lot of businesses and a few other people as well, and said that they'd like to know if all of our police officers in the area are actually going to work together to solve this.
Mr. Bloom, do you want to, have you been working with the RCMP or talking with them about this?
We've assisted on any questions or any concerns that we might be able to help with, like for camera or videos that we might have. We always work fairly closely with the RCMP. Saying that, it's just, yeah, like Councillor Gilroy said, it was when the RCMP are out of town, it is limited, obviously, but we are working to try to rectify that matter.
Councillor Gilroy.
One other thing the chamber brought up was something about the town has some cameras that a number of cameras in their possession, and they were wondering if that would be part of the solution to actually plug those cameras in and or change the location of something like that to get the best coverage for downtown.
Did you want to respond?
Well, the town has obviously cameras on the town office, which are situated for this area, but when it comes to downtown area, I don't think the town has any obligation, well, somewhat, some obligation, but not enough. It should be up to the business owners to install cameras or some protection. I don't think it's up to the town to buy cameras and start putting them around town, but.
Okay. I had heard we already had cameras, and they wanted to know if all of them were in use.
Yes.
All of them were in use.
They're all in use.
Okay.
We have some on the fire hall that monitor the skate park, the playground, and obviously the fire hall. And the Sports Palace, Gordon Buchanan Center have their own cameras, and the town has theirs. But they're all in use and working.
I had one question. You had mentioned 7 liquor/cannabis related infractions. I'm wondering, were any of those cannabis or all liquor?
We have 3 to date for cannabis.
For cannabis, okay. Now, is that all last month, or is that since
Yes,
the...
yes, it was. It's
okay.
last month. So, yeah.
Any other questions for our constable? No. All right, we have a motion to receive for his report for information. All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
We're moving in, and we can already see what's upcoming. He's anticipating the agenda. Our Public Works report. Can I get a motion? Councillor Long.
Council received the April 2019 Public Works Report as presented for information.
All right. Mr. Walker, anything you'd like to highlight for us?
The 55th Avenue RFP came in, and it very favorable towards the town over the money that we had estimated to the tune of about $300,000. The bad thing is the lagoon tender come in about $300,000 more than what we had anticipated. So it's kind of a wash on that, and these will be coming back to council for their approval at the next meeting. Other than that, it's steady as we go, and I'm open to questions.
Councillor Gilroy.
Since there'll be people watching this on the stream there, is there any way that they can help you with Pitch-In Week? I believe it's May 6th. You've got it on your report, May 6th. What can the people of this town do to help you or to help the town itself in Pitch-In Week?
Well, if they want to clean up their back alleys and bring the refuse down to the shop, that would be a great help to us. Any refuse that surround their properties, to pick it up and bring it down to the shop and throw it in the dumpster would be great. And clean up their own properties, right?
Will there be like things for paint cans and aerosols and stuff like that as well?
Yes. And then we'll have our toxic roundup in the first part of June. We'll store them at the shop, and then it'll be there.
Anything else?
And for council's information, today I just received the startup schedule for 56th Avenue, and they are planning to be here on the 25th of May with about 24 days to complete what's left to complete.
There was one soft spot on that road, I understand. What's happening with that?
We're just maintaining it, cleaning it up once in a while, but they're ultimately responsible for it. So we'll work out some sort of a deal.
Okay. Councillor Long?
Just one question that I ask every now and then. The two buildings that are by the lift station that have asbestos in them and
Yeah.
those, do we have a plan to get rid of them? Do we have a dateline to get rid of them?
Yeah. We're also in conjunction with talking with them in regards to the hospital at the same time, and we have kind of come up with a plan to get rid of those two buildings. There was one incident that we had there where there was a small leak there. We've got to figure out where that came from the new lift station before we can knock anything down over there. And we were just kind of waiting for spring to come. So the frost is not in the ground, so we can go down and investigate where that actually came from.
Okay.
But there is a plan.
There is a plan.
Yeah.
Within the
I don't have any completion date on that, but it'll be before winter.
Oh.
Of what year? No.
2022. What year do I retire?
You can't retire until it's fixed.
No, but we've been talking about those buildings. Yeah.
Thank you.
I see no other questions. So we have a motion to receive for information. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to 5.1, our April 9th minutes. Can I get a motion on those? Councillor Gilroy.
Anything to move this on? I make a motion that council approve the minutes from the April 9th, 2019 regular meeting of council as presented.
Did anybody notice any corrections or needed? Changes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Moving on to our proclamation message, item 8.1. A motion here? Okay, Councillor Long.
That right over here. That council directs the mayor to write a greeting proclamation for Falun Dafa Day, showing council's support.
Okay. Discussion on that, Councillor Long.
So if everyone remembers when we were on our AUMA in Edmonton, in Calgary, there was a group of people from China with megaphones and big banners. In 1992, they founded and created themselves, and it's basically a holistic exercise and meditation way that focuses on positivity and on honesty and integrity and all of those things. In 1999, the government in China proclaimed them to be the #1 leading cause of terrorism and the group to watch out for the most, even though there were dozens and dozens of different organizations that were responsible for over 20 killings. They still put Falun ahead of everybody else as the worst. They impounded thousands of people. They tortured thousands of people. They took, against their will, obviously, organs from these prisoners. And they're waging this war of terror basically on retired grannies who exercise. But because they have become associated with the pro-democracy in Hong Kong and the non-reunification in Taiwan, the government feels that they are an absolute threat to them. So they've killed thousands and thousands of these people. I think that to support it, it's not just an empty, hi, how are you? There's a reason why we're supporting them, why we're seeing communities all across the country supporting them, is because these poor people have been massacred by the Chinese. And they have no face to save. So that's why we're doing it. That's all.
Okay. Councillor Gilroy.
Just asking Councillor Long a question. How is that any different than the martyrdom of other faiths around the world where they do nothing wrong except that they do not worship the same God as the government. There are people around the world in the Middle East and all the rest of the place who do as harmless things as Falun Gong. And what response should we have then? Should we, if we're going, because I'm looking at this as, if we do that for this particular group, what other groups are within this range? Because this is a religious one.
No, it's not.
And, it is considered to be one.
The Chinese government considered them to be a religious group. They are not.
We met with them, I met with them a year and a half ago, right out here, and that's not what they told me.
They marry outside of the Falun Gong. They can marry outside that sect. That there's nothing holding together. Not like Scientology. Not like Church Mormon. You can be gay. You can be in a gay couple relationship. There's no formal prayer. There's nothing for. There's the writings of the founder. That is it. And he's saying, this is how I find my way to peace and inner peace. It's not a religion. The Chinese government had made it a religion because they are an atheist government. And that was the way that they could get support from other communist countries and dictatorships to say, no, we won't support these organizations because they're a terror group. And they are not a terror group. And they're not a religion.
I never accused them of being a terror group.
No.
But what I'm saying is, when myself and the former mayor met with them out here a year and a half ago, that's not the story they told us. And so I'm confused here as to if we where do we hold to stopping recognizing places? Do we recognize this one, then we recognize another group like this, another group like this?
Absolutely, we should.
Okay, so
We should
you're
call
open to
any government in any country or any organization that's creating racism and genocide, which has been attributed to the Chinese government from the Human Rights Organization. And so when we see that, it's no different than Myanmar and the poor Muslims that were slaughtered and forced out of Burma. It's tragic. And we should always be speaking out as elected officials within our community to represent our town, our beliefs, our faith value, to say this is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear your aspect on this.
Absolutely. We did nothing in World War II. Look what that got us.
Actually,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for December 7th, the U.S. never would have got in World War II. We went ahead of them in World War II.
Okay, we're getting off topic now. Anything else on this particular motion? Okay, we have a motion to write a letter of support or a greeting proclamation for Falun Dafa Day. All those in favor? Opposed? No, I didn't. Okay, carried. Moving on to Northern Lakes College convocation. Councillor Stenhouse.
That council approved the attendance of Mayor Panasek to attend the Northern Lakes College capping and pinning ceremony being held on June 6, 2019, and the Northern Lakes College 2019 convocation being held on June 7th, 2019 in Slave Lake, Alberta.
Councillor Gilroy.
My usual question, is the mayor able to attend those days, even though, we know you have a connection with the college? Are you able to be there for that?
Yes, I am able to be at the convocation. Now, this has got me a little...
The capping and pinning
is the day before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's traditional.
But the capping and pinning is in High Prairie, And, yeah, because in this motion, it says it's in Slave Lake, or in the administration, and I think they're all in High Prairie this year. Yeah.
Because I was there last year doing both.
So, and in this particular year, I am able to attend, but I think we should, just in case something changes, put in the mayor or delegate, just in case, if I'm not able to attend. Councillor Gola.
If the mayor's not able to attend, I would recommend the deputy mayor, as that's usually the responsibility of the deputy mayor.
I should be able to make these, but just in case.
I'll make sure you go.
Actually, it says High Prairie right here.
On one letter, the other one
The
says
letter
Slave
says High
Lake.
Prairie attached to it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
The other one says Slave Lake.
why did they do one and the other? No? No, Capping and Pinning. High Prairie and both.
Here it says Slave Lake, hosted in Slave
Yeah, and
Lake.
I'm noticing, oh, you've got the change in the package, you've changed the time.
High Prairie and the
Because
Slave
it
Lake.
does say at 7 p.m.,
Oh,
but it
down here it
is.
says that. Up here it says Slave Lake.
Oh. Yeah.
Guess I should.
Yeah, their letter is confusing because in the first paragraph it says it's being in Slave Lake, and then the schedule is as follows down below. It says High Prairie.
I went with the top
And then I
one.
notice on the next page that you got the error in the time, because that wasn't in the original package online.
I called them.
But they, okay, good. But I know when they are and where they're at, so I should be able to make them. But we should change just the motion to delete the location, and maybe change the Mayor Panasic or delegate.
Do you want me to put High Prairie in there?
Just leave it off, that's fine. Councillor Stenhouse, are you all right with that?
It's your motion.
I am. But I still, they invited you. They invited the mayor. They want to see the mayor. So, but if you can't make it, I'm good with the deputy mayor. But again, I want to stress that, you know, it's the mayor. It was sent to you.
Okay, so we've got those couple of,
And not so much specific to this, but we have the same requests every year for the mayor to go to a graduation and speak, or for a mayor to go to the high school and speak. And I totally support them. But why are they a council decision? Why are they not just approved? Like, why do we have to make this approval and then critique who potentially could go as well? Like, I mean, ultimately, yeah, I mean, probably likely that it would be the deputy mayor that would go next, but I mean, there's a chance that the deputy and the mayor can't go. I think being not represented is terrible, so I think that ultimately a delegate, and I'm glad that that's the word that you put in there, because ultimately, you know, we may be reaching out to another councillor if we're unable to send that. So is it possible to just have these, like, where we don't have to have them approved? Like, I asked somebody from another council and they said they don't. These are just approvals when there's just automatically assumed that if it's a local school within your jurisdiction, that you have the authority to go to that, speak at that graduation.
Councillor Danaka?
I think they come to us because I believe in the procedural bylaw. It states in order for honorariums, they have to be approved.
Okay, and I'm just seeing them more and more critiqued and corrected as to how we word it and who can go and who can't. So I'm just, instead of them coming to the point where, just like with, you know, we have a policy on a conference that we brought to council that we now have got to the point where we're not going to it, that'll be the next step, is this council will say, sorry, we're not going to approve the honorarium. So I just thought if there was a way to make this just a mandatory acceptance of our duties as a councillor to make sure that the mayor is at an event or anyway, I will leave it at that.
Councillor Long.
The mayor has some authority in being able to ask for a delegation to go forward on his behalf or her behalf. And so, for whatever myriad of reasons, there could be a function where the mayor would say, no, I would rather have Judy, Councillor Stenhouse, to go because she's best suited, she's really involved in whatever the committee is. So the mayor has some flexibility. Our procedural bylaws say that if he's not available, then it goes to our deputy mayor, but as well, he has to have that flexibility so that we don't end up having nobody attend. So if it reads as delegate or mayor or deputy mayor / delegate, that would probably suffice. It shouldn't be carved in stone.
Councillor Gilroy.
Councillor Rose makes a good point in the sense that for the last 3, maybe 4 capping and pinnings, I've represented the town. And at least once, maybe, I'm not sure if it's twice, I've represented the mid-graduation too, because no one else was available.
Yeah.
So, but I think the point that we're trying to make here is that it would be good to follow procedure as if the mayor can't do it, then it's the duty of the deputy mayor, and then somebody else after that, because that's the purpose of having the deputy mayor, is when the mayor can't make something, the deputy is supposed to be there. And so that I think is why we're actually pointing it this way, so that it's not one particular councillor being asked to go to a number of things because, oh well, I'm not that interested in going, and so, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, the point is that I think we'd like to follow the protocol. And so if you want to put all 3, I'm fine with that. Mayor, deputy mayor, and or delegate, I'm good with that.
So Councillor
Yeah,
Stenhouse.
we're good.
We're
Yeah.
good. You're all right with it. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to St. Andrew's graduate invitation. Councillor Daneka.
I make a motion that council approve Mayor Panasik, deputy mayor or delegate to attend the St. Andrew's graduation mass and ceremony on August 24th, 2019 at 2 p.m.
All right. I am able to make that one. Nothing at this point in time, but you never know. It's a long ways away yet. No other comments on it? All those in favor? Carried. National Public Works Week. Gonna get a motion here. Councillor Long.
A council proclaim May 19th to 21st, 2019 National Public Works Week and direct administration to advertise accordingly.
All right. Any questions on that one? It's a great one.
Vern's looking at me, so I'm just. You are going to work during that week, right?
No, week off.
I thought they kind of did this the whole year. No, just Vern for the whole year.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Item 8.5, Kids with Cancer Tour of Hope. Councillor Rose.
The council received the email regarding the 2019 Kids with Cancer Tour of Hope cycling event for information.
Councillor Daneka.
When I forwarded this, I wasn't necessarily looking at it from the point of if council or councilors wanted to be involved to get pledges. I was looking at it more of an event to support them as they come through, just to host something, have a barbecue, hot dogs, donations to the Kids Cancer Society. That was where I was going with this, if we wanted to participate, not so much from if councilors wanted to get donations and be part of the ride. I know there's some local people that are taking part in this, that are riding as it comes through High Prairie and are getting pledges and that kind of stuff, but I thought it would be something that we could support in the sense of making it an event for people to come out and, you know, show their support, or have a quick little hot dog barbecue, you know, donate whatever, $5 for popping a hot dog, that'll be donated to the Kids Cancer Society. That was sort of where I was coming from. If we're gonna go with that, then we would have to get more information in terms of date that they're coming through and that kind of stuff, so we can plan something.
Oh, it says June 11th. It'll be here.
Where does it say that? Oh, there it is. Our cyclist will be spending the night. Okay, June 11th. What day is that?
Tuesday. Which is the night we have council meeting.
That was where I was coming from on this.
I like the idea of being able to do something and, you know, get people out to recognize the event. I'm not sure what it is, but I like the idea to recognize it in one way, shape, or form. And like I said, maybe it's having a barbecue and donate, you know, you buy the hot dog and the donations go to the cyclists, to the cause. Something like that would be good.
That's sort of where I was going with that. I don't necessarily know, it doesn't really say when they're coming through, if it's the afternoon or if it's the evening. If that's something that we're looking for, we should maybe try and get more information to see timelines and, you know, or even if we can just advertise it, you know, the bike would be at the town office if you want to come in and, you know, donate, or, you know, if council can meet them and, you know, be a presence sort of thing as they're in our town.
What's the council meeting date, right?
It is. The second Tuesday works.
So it could be based on if we could get administration, just maybe find the information, if they're gonna be able to tell what time of day. Because if they happen to come late afternoon, early evening, we could actually host something just pre-council. Like whether it just be a council meet and greet, and we can be there to meet, you know, the riders, and then anybody else who wants to come out as well, right? Doesn't have to be anything much more than that as far as expense or organization, but maybe we could just find out a little bit more about the actual arrival time.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people are riding either, but I know with some of the rides that we've been on, there could be
Big
300-400 riders coming through. So
But
it's,
will there be big gaps between like who's coming through too as well?
and the timing of them, not everybody is there, and they don't come through all together. In my experience, they're coming at different times, and you got the high performers that are riding away, and the other ones that are a little, me and Arlen coming up at the rear.
Way back.
Yeah.
So we have to make another motion to get administration to try and get some more information on that? Okay.
Okay.
So do we have to defeat this one then if it's just for information?
Right now, we're not really asking them to do anything more, right?
Yeah.
So.
You can still accept it just for information, and then if you decide to do more later on, you still can.
Okay.
And
Councillor Long?
If putting up barricades, road closures, to help bikers get through, and find out where the hotels are that they're staying at, maybe we can help flag off and create some opportunity for safer ride you've got the contacts.
It's all in the email, I just forwarded it, I'm not even sure why it came to me.
Oh, you're not writing?
You, administration, or any of the other councils, I don't know.
You're not writing?
No.
Okay, well, we can keep it, and then if we're gonna do more, we'll hear back and we can decide. Yeah.
Can I just ask a random question? Maybe we can write this little note down and you can check it out. There's supposed to be a Lemonade Day in Northern Alberta with Community Futures. And for some reason the date, the 11th, is sticking in my mind. If it happened to correlate with this, we may be able to have a lemonade stand with Community Futures and some of the young people in the community. So just maybe put a note down and we'll look into when Community Futures is doing that event, because that might make sense.
Good idea.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion to receive for information. All those in favor? Carried. Item 8.6. I get a motion on this one. Councillor Rose.
The council approved the rebranding committee's choice of the AllNet script logo to represent the town of High Prairie.
Okay, now just so I'm clear, when we're talking the script logo, we've got multiple price quotes in also, right? So it's a script proposal, but it's also a dollar figure tied to something also? Well, it depends who's coming from which one, which one we pick.
So do you want that adjusted to include the?
Well, did we not make a motion before to approve X amount for logo development, but
3,000.
didn't specify which one?
3,000.
Up to? Yeah. So are we under 3,000 with this? Okay. Okay, so we don't need another motion there, but if we wanted to change to another logo, then we would probably need to make another motion for additional funding. Okay. Well, this is kind of unique that you get the price quotes and you get some sample logos, so you can decide if you like it, and if you do, how much you're going to pay for it, as opposed to just saying, we'll give you this and you give us some designs. That was kind of nice to have the designs first and then say, here's my price tag if you want to work with it. Okay, Councillor Stenhouse.
So I'm confused. So do these numbers of these quotes correlate with the logo numbers?
No. These were picked up. These were chosen just at random. Just different samples of logos that we had.
Councillor Gilroy.
So the one you're looking at is the one being recommended by the committee, the first one. And yet we were still sent all the rest of the copies for what purpose? Because the people who were here earlier were suggesting they would like the logo that's on our delegation came up with. And that seemed to be the suggestion from, which is number one, which seems to be the suggestion of the committee. I'm wondering why we are looking at the rest. And secondly, I tend to believe that we asked the purpose of this was actually, I would like to see cut down to a couple and actually ask the people in the town to vote on it, just like they did with the logo. With the tagline, because it's too important to just suddenly look at it. I really want, if these people have to adopt it, they need to have a chance to vote on it.
I'll just respond to part of that is that, I mean, ultimately it's our responsibility or our decision on which logo we come up with. And that's why we have other options here. Yes, we have the one that's the recommendation. And so that's their recommendation. But it doesn't necessarily mean that's the one that we have to take. So that's why
Will a
we've got
different
other
choice
options.
affect the cost, or is it logo period?
Sorry, what?
Sorry.
Is it, the costs that we're given here, are they based upon any one of these ones, or is it specific to script only? So if we take one with a picture, for example, number 4, does that increase the cost?
It depends who developed that logo.
You know,
Don't-
because you have
don't
4, you have
worry
8, and no, it does affect the cost of it, though. That's what I want to know.
But I think,
Because
if I can, I wouldn't think that a few $1,000s, the logo's more important than just a little bit. I'd rather not look at who developed them or the cost and just pick the ones that we like and go from there.
Well, that's why I like the numbers, because I have no clue who did what.
That's the same with me. I have no clue, but it's just, and that's good. Which one do we like?
That's what it was done.
Yeah, I don't know who's done what, and just pick the logo that you like.
But we do know that the logo that AllNet provided and the one that the
committee has recommended fits in under budget. Right? So the one that you know which one AllNet is, right?
Obviously, it's number 1.
Okay, good.
Councillor Stenhouse.
Actually, it's a question, I didn't know if I should ask it to the scheduled delegations, but I'd like to ask it now to the committee members. So I just found this out at the gun show, that the town's mascot is the Dolly Wally. So my thinking is, shouldn't our logo be kind of reflect that as our mascot?
You just found that out, so obviously that's not very popular, is it?
Exactly.
That's why we're rebranding.
Yeah.
Changing our face.
Mm-hmm. We didn't know what it was.
Oh, we did it for a while. We forgot.
Okay. What are people's thoughts on the different designs? Councillor Long.
Well, number 1 is nice and clean. It matches to, and it conforms to the request of the RFD, or RFP rather, that it be black, white, and red. So that limits, just on that basis alone, the ones that come in all multicolored don't meet the criteria that was set out for them from here. Now, some of that could be just from discussions that the committee had initially. They went through it and they looked. That's nice that they're all here so we can see what they were looking at and the options that they had. But I'm of the opinion that we need to, when we create a committee, we need to give those people the respect they deserve. They're coming forward with good ideas, that they're not coming with schlock. It's well presented, and we entrusted them. We entrusted them because we thought it was important that the community put this together, not us. We couldn't have made a decision on it anyways. But that being said, they put a lot of work into this, and I am of the opinion that number 1 is the nicest way to go. It's very nice that the results online came back in support of this one as well, so from the community. But at the end of the day, we have to make this decision, and if we turn down this number 1 as not acceptable, then what is? They put a lot of work into it, so I think
I'm comfortable with number one. It looks nice. It looks really nice. And it would look nice on a big entrance sign too.
Councillor Corley.
I agree, Michael. It's of all these are, I think this one looks most professional. It says exactly what we want. It's nice and clean. You can brand that on many different business cards, letterheads. There's what I was gonna say that, yeah. Like when it flips through all the towns and villages and everything on the EMA, it says High Prairie. When ours came out there before, you really had to look to see what town that was, unless you knew it, right? This says what we are. Okay? We're Town of High Prairie, heart of Big Lakes, which we are. That's what we are. And I think it says it looks professional. I like it.
Councillor Rose.
Just one more comment about like the committee. We got to look at these ones that you're seeing in your package, and those are the more recent ones that are based on sort of script and slightly different criteria. Originally, we had that fellow that came and presented to us, Paul, and he had presented a number of them. We probably had 40 different logos to look at, and they were none of them were satisfactory. Like it seemed to be that based on what the group was looking for, he sort of missed what was hitting home with anybody. So we went through all of the bigger picture ones with the lake and the trees, and then we did the cowboy thing, and like there was a lot of different process that went through that we went through to kind of get to this point. This is the one logo that came to the table where we were actually, because we were to the point where we were like, okay, like we're probably going to have to like really spend a lot of time now because we saw where we were stopped. And then this one was submitted, and everybody around the table loved it. Like so, it was that aha moment. So I think that it seems to have been a little bit that we've heard on Facebook, because it got out there last night, has been received well as well. So.
And when you get to logos, it's a little bit of art, so everybody has a different opinion, and it'll always be different. So I don't think you're ever going to get total consensus and total everybody agreeing all the time. It is very, very subjective, but yeah, there is a couple in here that are nice, but I like number one also. It's clean, it's simple, it's some of these are very good. Anybody have a serious objection to taking number one? Councillor Gilroy.
In certain cultures, red, which is prominent in this one. I was looking at number 6, which has just a little bit of red in there, but prominent in red in certain cultures, especially Asian cultures, red denotes death and negative things. And so it depends on who you want to attract. Personally, I have not been one who has been fully behind rebranding because of, for certain reasons. But in the end, obviously it's going to be whatever the will of this council wants, but I think we better be aware of how colors also affect different cultures that we're trying to attract.
Councillor Danaka.
In picking the criteria, if you go to hockey games, all of our sports teams are predominantly red and black. That's why we went with red and black. Nobody thought, oh, well, red's the color of death. It's the color of the town, red and black. The Regals, the minor hockey teams, they're all red and black. Soccer's red and black.
Football isn't?
County Stampeders.
No, football in our town isn't.
So that's why we went with those colors. And again, in the discussions at the rebranding committee, we wanted something that was simple, something that was eye-catching, something that you could get behind. And in looking at all the logos, number one was the one that caught everybody's eye, and as Jennifer said, that little cheek above the eye was just the top. So I think
Canola? She called it canola.
I think from Councillor Rose and myself being on the branding committee, you know which one we're in favor of. So,
Councillor Long.
Just maybe hopefully put your mind at ease. In India, 1.4 billion people, red is the color of marriage. And so the bride will come in with her gold and everything else and in this beautiful red gown. In North America and across Europe, red and white is a great color for Santa Claus and widely supported by many, many, many millions of people, especially me. So I don't see that a problem. And if people don't like it because of the color, then they don't need to move here.
Just one more comment, exactly that. It's the Canadian flag color. So, I mean, if what you're talking about is culturally sensitive to some people, it's the color of the Canadian flag.
Councillor Stenhouse.
Okay, so I'm lost again on this debate. Are we talking about we're going with script only?
Yes.
Okay,
That one right there.
good.
Recommending number one right there.
Because I really wanted to see a harvester on that logo, but if we're going with script only,
You wanted to see what?
a harvester, a combine.
Oh, okay.
Will the wheat do though? I like the wheat. I do like the wheat.
I do,
really
but.
She wants a Courtney vehicle on there.
Do you notice the little sort of twisted part?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like the pickup teeth in that
Well, they do.
combine.
Could have a walleye kind of hiding in the weeds on the edge.
Oh, yeah, like, are we doing that? Okay.
Naked cowboys, we just.
Yeah.
Naked cowboys. Oh my god. Oh, I think it looks.
Okay. We've gone around it. We had the recommendation. We have the motion to accept logo number one. All those in favor? Opposed? It is carried. So now the question becomes, how are we going to implement all of that? Wonderful stuff.
Not on the agenda. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
That'll be a whole, yeah. Okay.
No, actually,
Yeah, Teresa.
9-1. No, we 8788, don't we? First.
Sorry? No, we're going to 8.7,
Right.
which is
The
Bill
C.
C.
Sorry, she tried to tell me we're going to our treasurer. I'm like, no.
Oh,
We have two before that.
Bill C-68. Can I get a motion? Councillor Long.
That council received a letter from Member of Parliament Cheryl Gallant for information. And I'll talk to that in a
Okay,
minute.
go ahead, Councillor Long.
When we recall back on the discussions for cannabis, and there was an organization out there putting out information too late, too soon, or too early, too soon, or whatever it is. And I called questions on it because of the way it was presented to us. Now, Cheryl Gallant has a degree in science, biology, and pharmacology, and all those things. So she's definitely intelligent enough. And she's dedicated. She's been with Stephen Harper since 2000, something like that, 2001. So she makes a point here. One of the most significant problems identified by municipalities about HAD provision was its broad application and restrictive nature, which ended up costing property taxpayers thousands of dollars with no real or apparent benefit to the environment. That's one comment. Now, in that, you have to ask yourself, who actually came to her and complained? Was it a corporation? Were lots of corporations? Was it private individuals? Was it homeowners? Where were the where were these projects, and and the opinion that you have that nothing was saved, nothing, there was no real apparent benefit to the environment. Where is she talking about? This is just random ramblings of a politician. There's nothing factual in her comments. And same as too soon, too fast with the cannabis, we can accept all of this as gospel, but you're accepting this based on her say-so and her party's position on it. And there's no facts here. There's nothing factual. It's all her opinion. So we have to be careful, because not one of you is going to be able to tell me where were these properties and the extra costing them thousands of dollars. Where were they? Anybody know? Anybody know who they were? Anybody know what the environmental projects were that caused them? We don't, because she didn't give it to us, because it probably didn't benefit her really. So I'm opposed to it. She talks about, as well, she talks about the worst of all, rather than specifically listing what is and not an offense under this legislation, including fines or jail, this power is being handed over to the unelected technocrats. We're talking about removing water from a riparian zone, from a creek, a stream, a river, and they want to be able to move that and not have any consequences to it. That's why it's gone to Fisheries and Oceans, is because of making sure that corporations don't divert stream beds or encroach into riparian zones. So when we talk about this, we don't know. Not one of us know. No matter how many watershed meetings we attend, we don't know what she's talking about. C-68, how does it impact us? As a community, it doesn't. And she's saying it's going to impact all of these small communities all over the country. It doesn't. It's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars to the taxpayers of this country. How? How do we know? Show me where. She doesn't. This is just tripe coming in from a politician. And don't like it. And it's a waste of time.
Councillor Danaka.
I'd like to get Mr. Walker's opinion on this C-68 thing and how it's going to affect, if it's going to affect us.
So going to the seminars in Banff and other water and wastewater meetings that we go to, it will impact the town of High Prairie in regards to how and when and where we can discharge lagoon water, where we can withdraw water, discharge storm water. It is going to affect us, and it's the regulations that are being brought down. I know the town of Panoka, if you want to research it, got charged. I can't remember exactly what the fine was, but by Oceans and Fisheries for discharging into a drainage ditch, which went on and into the stream and killed a few fish. And they got fined heavily for that. And that is burdened by the taxpayer. Right? So it will affect us in that shape and form, and not knowing what the fines are, what the rules are. I agree with her. Oceans and Fisheries, it takes us a year to 2 years to get an approval. It's crazy to install a storm discharge. You can't put a bucket of anything into a riverbed without first having approval of Oceans and Fisheries, and they are not the most timely people. Yet the city of Montreal to discharge raw sewage into the same marsh.
Billions of liters of raw sewage.
But to come and get the town of Panoka out of wherever was wrong. And they're determining that this is going to be a drainage ditch now. If fish can swim in it when you're putting your water in it, they're going to deem that as an offense. Which, that means when we discharge our lagoons twice a year, that all of a sudden becomes a fish habitat.
Councillor Gilroy.
Do we have any information on how AUMA is handling this?
I don't have any information on it.
Obviously, they'd know more than we would.
I'm sure they have some technocrats working on it.
Who's the technocrat?
Somebody who's smart and knows the industry, knows what to talk about, whether to talk about fisheries or pollution or technocrat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those are good people. They're not bad people.
The technical bureaucrat.
So we have a motion to receive for information, and in my mind, I think what the letter that's suggested is to make sure that the government provides regulatory certainty before this legislation is passed. I don't see that as being a bad thing, right? It's just being, let's make sure we know what we're getting into. And it sounds like, and I'm with Councillor Long, I don't understand all of this act, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like there's lots of questions, right? Is this really a body of water that they're discharging into, or is it just a drainage ditch that shouldn't be considered that? And where are the lines in the sand so that we don't get charged?
So I can withdraw a motion. Or we can defeat it.
Just defeat it and put a new one in.
Okay, so we have a motion received for information. All those in favor? Opposed? It's defeated. Can we get another motion then?
Yes, I'd like to make
Okay, Councillor Stenhouse.
The council direct Mayor Panasic to write a letter on behalf of council demanding the federal government to provide regulatory certainty before this legislation is passed into law.
Councillor Gilroy.
Can we have a copy sent to our MP, Arnold Verson, so that at the same time he can fight for us, since that's his job in federal?
Good idea. Yeah, I can CC our MP. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Now we're on to our addendum, letter to MLA and leader. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Long?
That council approved the mayor to write congratulation letters on behalf of council to MLA Pat Rain, Premier Jason Kenney, congratulating them on their election win. And do you want me to add into a letter sent? And also a letter sent to our past MLA, Danielle Larrabee, thanking her for her service.
Contributions to the community.
Pardon me?
Contributions to our community.
However, allowed. That's it.
Any thoughts on this motion? No? All right, all those in favor?
We're one day ahead.
Looks good. We're going to have lots of letters to write there. Well, yeah. Well, that's, yeah. I know who writes them. I sign them.
I don't know, I think that says that the mayor's writing them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would be dishonest.
Yeah.
And we don't want to have a dishonest man.
Yeah. Okay, off to our financial report, 9.1. Can I get a motion? Councillor Rose?
The council received the financial report for March 2019 as presented for information. Oh my goodness, I can't speak.
Okay, thank you for that. Terry, anything you'd like to draw to our attention on this?
The only thing I figured I'd let you know is, as you can see, the budget was input into the computer, and I had staff do that. There was a few corrections that had to be made because they divided some stuff by all 12 months, and some of it is actually only once a year or every quarter. So we've adjusted those figures so your next report will be more accurate compared to budget. The actuals won't change, but the compared to budget amount will. Other than that, everything seems to be proceeding well. There doesn't seem to be any surprises, good or bad. And so if there's any questions.
Councillor Stenhouse.
The donation and sponsorship page. So I was reviewing that of what we've already paid out.
That's not part of the financial report.
Okay.
That was
I'll
something
wait.
just supplied to council.
What? So I can't ask my question?
Yeah, you could ask, because that is in the financial report, that what's been
That's
given
right.
out under that
That's right.
line item. So I think it's still legit if it's an item.
I would suggest that it would be after this is, because this is the financial report, is this package of 40-some pages. That report was not part of that.
Well, it's just a question on what we've spent, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
A lot of the, that's just to give you up to date, because some of the motions, the payments haven't been made yet. They are in this check run, so they'll show up on next month.
Okay, but that's not my question.
Okay.
I was looking at it to see where we are. And in your statement here, nowhere does it say the 15,000 that we gave to the golf course. Is that part of, out of our donations?
No.
Capital.
Okay.
Capital. Capital? Yeah.
Any questions on the financial report?
Councillor Rose.
So mine's sort of on the financial report. I'm just wondering, is it possible to get this financial report attached to the agendas? I know we don't want to print them out and waste the paper on 40 pages of financials, but can it be attached to the agenda so when we're checking it online, we have access to it?
I don't do that. I just send everything to the secretary, so I
And
don't
you send
know.
her a copy of?
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to that.
I was late getting it, but it was put on there when I got it. So it's on there.
It is now.
Yeah.
That's all, just because it's easier than going, and I know you send it to us in email, but it's just easier when you're going through the agenda package that you can click on that information, because it wasn't there originally.
Any other questions?
Seeing no others, we had a motion to receive for information. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to 9.2, the 2019 tax levy bylaw. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Rose.
The council give third and final reading to bylaw.
Back up a step.
Second.
Option 1, the council gives second reading to bylaw 7, 2019, the tax levy bylaw this 23rd day of April, 2019.
Okay. So we had a look at this last meeting. We've got a bit more information now with the other factors added in. So, any questions on this now? We have the comparatives for council here, this document. If you want to see how it
Just to let council know, the non-residential tax rate is significantly lower than last year because of all the other things like the Recplex, the senior foundation, and the school part. Because those, it wound up that the consolidated non-residential tax rate is actually lower than last year. Last year was 18 point something, this year it's 17.61.
And yet for a large commercial property, it is higher, right?
Not necessarily. If you look at the I on the first page of the revised one I left you, it has dropped from 59,000 to 56,000 if the assessment had stayed the same. The only reason that this particular one went up was because the assessment went up. And even then, the total amount that it went up is only $900, and the assessment went up $200,000.
Small commercial looks like it's going down. Residential 1 is actually a little bit lower. Residential 2 is lower. Residential 3 is higher.
Yeah, same reason for because of the increased assessment. If the assessment had not increased, it would have gone up by $1.77.
But that's a $149 increase. And same with residential 4.
Yep.
Slightly higher. Any questions on this? No questions? We have a motion to give it the second reading. All those in favor? Opposed? It is carried. And we want to give a third and final reading. Get a motion. Councillor Long?
That council received third and final reading of bylaw 7-2019, tax levy bylaw, this 23rd day of April 19th.
That receive or give third?
Give.
Give, okay. I thought you said receive. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought I heard there. So. Okay. That council give third and final reading. Councillor Gilroy?
I just sort of had a look from Councillor Long asking why I voted against it, and so I want to publicly say again that in my integrity, I said I would not vote for both an increase in our utilities and an increase in taxes regardless. This is an increase in taxes. We already had the increase, and so I said I was voting totally against any increase, so that's fine. Councillor Long. Okay? I just wanted to be open to that. It was all public there. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried.
Opposed?
Opposed? I just saw all the
Thank you,
hands
Mr. Martinson,
opposed.
for looking my way.
Okay, donation request for Veterans Memorial Gardens. Councillor Gilroy?
Since I asked this one to go to the Veterans Memorial, I will move that council approve the funding for 4 memorial panels for the Veterans Memorial Garden at a cost of $1,100. Is that $1,100 each or $1,100 total? Total, okay. And I just want to thank our treasurer for going over there because the veterans told me she brought it up, as she said she would.
I'm a Legion member, so but I was there already.
Any other discussion? We talked about this last time around. Seeing no questions, all in favor? Opposed? Carried? And moving on down to our CAO's report and action list. 13.1.
Okay.
Councillor Stenhouse.
The council received the CAO Brian Martinson's report and action list for information.
Thank you. Do you want to bring up anything for our attention?
Yeah.
It's all good. Councillor Gilroy, then Councillor Stenhouse.
Okay, there needs to be a correction on our CAO's report. The MPC meeting on Wednesday, April 17th, Councillor Long was unable to be there. It was just myself and the other representatives of MPC. The other thing is, has there been any movement on a request that was made earlier about a meeting with STARS, the county, and the town about the heliport, possibility of the heliport, because they wanted to meet, and HS, they all wanted to meet this summer. Have we worked on that at all? Okay.
Councillor Senthouse was next, then we'll go Rose Daneka.
So I want to thank our CAO for filling in at the trade show, at the gun show, for all the blank spaces that people couldn't make it. You put in a lot of time at that booth, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
That was it? Okay. Councillor Rose.
Did you provide us, Brian, an update on that, the progress meeting conference call you had about broadband? Did I miss that, or you have an
No,
update?
I didn't. It was basically some information shared by Jennifer, who's the
Massick, yeah.
yeah, engineer that we met with in Calgary that time. Red Deer, I guess it was. And yeah, they're just going forward with the request for proposals on hiring a group to promote
The advertising part of it?
the advertising part of it. So Nancy's been working with their engineer basically now to come up with the right wording in the proposal. So we'll get it out, and we have some dates to change in the proposal, and then.
And the advertising component is for the pilot, or for just what we want to accomplish after? Like, what was?
It's for the selling and marketing of the whole of Big Lakes.
Thanks.
I think their CAO is still having some difficulties in meeting with all the Indigenous communities. I know he's talking to Jordan, he's met with a few of the groups, but not all of them, so. And the big thing, I think, from what Jennifer said, is the more support we got, the stronger we have for
sure, federally,
for
yeah.
federal funding and that, so. It's very important. I talked with Mayor Panasek about that, and he says maybe council as a whole has to go out and meet with these people, go to their areas, if we have to go to Gift Lake or Whitefish or whatever, and do a tour and meet them face to face and tell them how important this is going to be for our area. So,
But I think we need to get the expert with us to help with that
answer the
promotion
questions.
and answer some of those questions. But once we get down, because I also understand from the discussion that there are some that are on board already, so we don't need to do anything there. But the ones that are not on board, we need to come up with a plan on how we can lobby and get them on board, whether it be going down there or between us and Big Lakes, going and meeting with some of them and try to get them on board. Big project.
It might be a good opportunity to, I mean, because we have this project and it's timely, and we do need to make make that pitch about big broadband, so everybody's on board and understands at least the option. But we have talked for years about that council to council meeting with each First Nation, and that maybe we can try to schedule a visit, and maybe, maybe it's not everybody, but maybe it's a smaller group of who can actually go. Even the groups that have already committed to this project, but I mean, still that opportunity to have that council to council visit, if we can get the momentum going around this. Maybe and we could still get, an update from, because didn't Jennifer say that she would be part of that, or Steve would be part of us lobbying and going from community to community?
I don't remember that, but
I think he's put that more onto Big Lakes County.
As a owner. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Daneka.
I know you had sent out an email regarding when MPE is going to be here with their structural view to look at the arena, the curling rink, and the Gordon Buchanan. Have we gone forward with getting samples of the floor, the mold, to see where we're at with that?
No, I haven't. I'll let them do that at the time.
What's that, sorry?
I will let them do that at the time.
Oh, okay, okay. As long as we're still
Yeah.
moving forward, okay.
They give me a timeline of late April, early May that they were going to be in. So
Anything else? Councillor Stenhouse?
Do we have an update on those trailers and lots?
Terry, can you fill them in? The 2 trailers, we thought we had a offer on the one, but it was on a different trailer down there. So
We've just got the land titles. We pull the land titles twice a month and make sure to put it into our system. And the person that was looking at the one trailer decided against it and bought a different trailer instead. So still bought something, but it wasn't one of the town ones.
Councillor Gilroy?
Since we're talking about trailers, we had that, we had the company come in and talk about the trailers, the older trailers. Have we come up with any sort of agreement with the trailer park owner about what kind of trailers can come in?
I think that was in discussions with MMSA yet.
No.
And they were going to give us a recommendation to incorporate into our land use bylaw.
Okay.
And one just wondering what's happening with what you can update us on the new developments that we're hoping for, Huskies, Tim's, and the college.
The mayor was in. We tried to phone the Tim Hortons developer, and he didn't answer his phone. I left a message. He didn't return my call. So Husky, I believe, is still a go out on the west end, High Prairie. So we're looking at that to start here sometime in May. Other than that, there's no other developments that I've been informed about. So.
The college came in, right?
The college came in. We sent their plans, 3 big rolls of plans, out to Superior for the review of the plans and that. So it's a slow process, but they paid for their building permit already, so it's in the works. Hopefully the money, this government still has the money there for the college.
Okay.
Mr. Walker mentioned that there might be some tie-in with the old hospital and getting rid of the other 2 buildings, but is the old hospital slated for demolition anytime soon? Or?
Our engineers are actually coming up to look more into that. I give them some more information from the maintenance staff at the hospital there. They were wondering what kind of asbestos was in the structure itself, so, and how much of it actually was in there, because part of it was constructed at a later time, and I believe that like the nursing home has very little in it, so at a JB Woods, so portion of it. So I'll be able to update you more after we meet with them here in the next couple of weeks. So.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to receive for information. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to our treasurer's report, it's 2. Get a motion on this one? She looks around. Councillor Rose.
The council received the March 2019 Treasurer's Report as presented for information.
All right. Anything to draw our attention to here, Terry?
The only thing, as you can see, 3/4 of it was financial last month, because that's when the auditors were here, so that's where nearly all my time was, and it was a busy month. That's the only thing basically to mention.
Okay. Councillor Stenhouse?
My attention is on number 3, your assessment and property taxes, where you found errors in calculations? Who's making these errors?
This was the provincial assessor. They sent us the assessment. The amount did not make sense to me, so I questioned it. There was also a code, like we have different codes for different types of construction, like the 1s are residential, the 2s are commercial, the 4s are linear, etc., or 5s are linear. And there was something wrong with one of the codes. It was a code I'd never seen before, and so I sent him a query and asked him 3 questions. One was in regards to the amount. It did not make sense. Number 2 was in regards to the code. And number 3 was to make sure that the mistake they had made the year before, where the boundary was between the county and the town on the West Fraser land, that it had been separated properly. They got back to me and said that they were wrong with the code, and they were happy that I had caught it, because now they had to check other places to make sure that they had not made the same mistake for other municipalities. And they also had, then that code is what affected the amount by about $20 or $30 million. And if I hadn't caught that, I would have made the mistake that was made in 2015 before my time, where we assessed, got an assessment amount, we made our projections and our bylaw according to that amount, and then we wound up being short. And in this case, because the numbers didn't look right, and I questioned them, and they found it before I was had to do the tax levy bylaw. So they, I think they felt a little bit sheepish, to tell you the truth.
Well, I'm glad you found it, because hoping we wouldn't have to go back and look at those numbers.
Councillor Rose.
Terry, are you looking into is it the RBC benefit package research? Is that another medical benefits package that you guys are looking into?
It's a combination of defined pension plan, and the also the benefit package similar to what we have for our medical. They just introduced this stuff. It's something new that they're working on. They were supposed to roll it out in March. They have not had a chance to finish it. It'll be pretty soon, and I'm kind of waiting for this to tie in with the where the administration is. We're supposed to be getting together with the staff, and so I'm trying to wait for this to be available so I can present that to the staff at the same time. It's options that are available. Some of it we can't go ahead, as was mentioned at the last council meeting. I don't want to present some of the stuff until council has either said yes or no that they would support it, but I can't even do that until I have the numbers. So it's like almost like a domino effect. I have to have the numbers and the information from them first, then I can mention to council, okay, fine, this is what is available. Would council support this or not? If the numbers are the same, then it doesn't really matter. But I won't know until I have the numbers.
So when you're saying they don't
RBC.
have RBC, so is this like a new program with RBC or something?
Totally new. Totally new.
So when you're talking defined pension, so you're talking like an RSP program?
Not RSP. It's similar to a pension plan where you contribute to it. Yes, very similar to LAP, which for people that may not know, a defined benefit package is you are guaranteed a certain dollar amount every month when you retire at age 60 or 65 or 70. And that amount is defined. It's a specific amount. With RSPs, you have a choice of how much you take out per month. You can it doesn't last a certain amount of time when you die, so they're not the same.
Yeah, it's odd. You don't see too many defined benefit at all anymore because of the expense of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
It definitely caught my attention when they were telling me that.
I had one question too for you. I know at the last meeting we talked about looking into those other investment streams for through AUMA and through the Treasury branch. I'm wondering if you had a chance to look into those.
No, with the auditors and stuff, and we're just finishing that off in the next day or so. Most of my concentration has been on that, so no, I have not.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor of receiving for information? Carried. Now we have our reports, and then we have one last agenda item in camera. So are we good to push through, take a break, and then take a break before in camera? Or do we need a break now?
Nobody lost one.
Well, I know I lost one, so.
Break time.
You want a break now? Okay, we'll take a break now then.